Finding a driving test might be harder than actually learning to drive. The backlog is crazy and I don't think they're doing anything about it. Hi, DVSA, are you doing anything about the backlog? Ah, not a sausage. How many more times can I do the phone joke in the intro? I'm going to tell you the 3 ways that you can book a driving test from most expensive to cheapest, and at the end I'll tell you why it's probably not a good idea to get your driving instructor to book it for you. Okay, so the most expensive way to book a driving test, and probably the easiest and quickest, is if you get someone like a ticket reseller to do it for you. There are lots of people out there right now online reselling driving test dates. Loads. You can find them quite easily, but I will not advertise them because there's a slight problem. Same way as when there's more demand than supply for Taylor Swift tickets, people are going to buy up tickets in bulk and then resell them for more money. There's nothing illegal about it. It's perfectly okay, but it creates a problem. Now, driving tests aren't £62. They're reselling them for £200, £300, sometimes even £400 plus. And I don't want you to have to pay that much money for a driving test. If you're in a rush and you've got the money to spare though, it might be your best option. Here's the warning. There are lots of people out there reselling legitimate driving test dates, but there are also lots of people out there selling driving tests that don't exist. I've received hundreds of messages from people who've bought driving tests online from someone who never had the driving test slot to begin with. Yes, it's a scam. Sometimes people even use my pictures on a fake page to sell driving tests with. So please, unless you've got someone who you know sells driving tests and you know they've got the dates available, don't buy driving tests online, because it's likely if you don't know where to go to buy driving tests and you've just found a random Instagram or Facebook page online, you're not going to get a driving test after handing over your money. The next method is to use one of the cancellation apps like Testy or Driving Test. Now, what they do is they use a bot to scour the driving test booking system and find you cancellations. To use it, you have to have a driving test booked up already, and what they'll do is they'll search the system for a driving test that meets your parameters, either date or driving test center, and then book it for you. But this is not a sponsored video, so I can tell you the bad points. They don't really work very well anymore. They used to, but they don't now. Where everybody's on the apps, let's say you've chosen Dunkirk as your test center, there'll be 2,000 other people waiting for a driving test on the app at Dunkirk. Don't know why I chose Dunkirk, that's actually in France. So when one of the bots magically finds a free driving test slot at Dunkirk, it's a complete lottery who gets it. The experience that you're probably going to get on one of the apps is you'll sign up, pay the premium subscription, and either not hear anything back or not hear anything back for a long time. But I'm here to hear what your experience has been of using the apps lately and recently. Let me know in the comments, because everybody else trying to book a driving test now can also learn from it. I will just add, if you're looking for a driving test, I would combine the next method and this method. Sign up to the app, you might get lucky, but don't bank on it. Let's get into method 3, the cheapest way. The cheapest way to book a driving test is also the hardest way to book a driving test. It's going to take the most effort, but you will get results. Here's what to do. When you log on to the book a driving test part on gov.uk, you will find that there's no driving tests available. That's because they only release test dates 6 months in advance. So right now, every single driving test date within that 6-month period has been booked out by somebody else. On Monday morning at 6 a.m, they release a whole week's worth of driving test availability to keep it at 6 months all the time. But everybody knows about this. So if you're not up at 6 a.m. when they release them, they will have gone. The other thing to note is if you need a driving test quickly, waking up at 6 a.m. on a Monday morning won't work, because those driving test slots, like I said, are in 6 months' time. So how do you get a driving test slot quickly without waking up on Monday morning at 6 a.m. and getting a driving test slot in 6 months or paying loads of money for it? Here's what you need to do. Cancellations do come up on the system regularly all the time. If you just log on once, see no availability, and then log off again, you're not going to be there when that one cancellation's come up. You need to sit on the website for hours, 3, 4, 5 hours, maybe even all day. If you work from home or you work from work, have another computer or another tab open on your browser and just sit there refreshing for hours And you need to sit there refreshing constantly, because as soon as that notification comes up, as soon as that free slot is there, I promise you, you will see it go in no more than 2 refreshes. It will be gone so fast, because you're not the only person checking. It's not just you and all of the other people looking at your test center checking. You've also got the bots to compete with who are checking as well. So you need to be really quick. You need to be refreshing constantly. When that free test slot pops up, you need to click it and book it instantly, or somebody else will take it off you. Like I said, it is hard work and it does take some time, but it will make sure that you get a driving test slot for £62, which is the actual price of a weekday driving test. 75 if you're doing it at the weekend. So I said I'd tell you why it's potentially not a good idea to get your driving instructor or a random company to book it for you. And here's the problem that I've seen crop up lately. You've booked an intensive course with a company. You've asked them to book your driving test as well. I promise you, they don't have special access or special dates that anybody else doesn't have. They're using the same things that you're using. They're using the same system that you have access to. But when they book it for you, they'll charge you a premium because they sat there refreshing, and they're now in control of your driving test. What does that mean for you? Well, at a basic level, it means if your driving instructor's rubbish, you're now stuck with them because they're in control of your booking. They could take it away, or they could give it to somebody else if they wanted to. If they've got the driving test reference number and the email on the booking is their email because they booked it, they could change it, they could give it to someone else, they could cancel it. You can't do anything about that. So if you did decide to go with a different driving instructor because you just didn't get on with them, you might find that you lose your driving test. So make sure that you're in control of your driving test booking so that you can do whatever you want with it. If you've got any more questions, put them in the comments. I'm always around to help you guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you found this helpful, and YouTube thinks that you'll also find this video extremely helpful. Watch that next. Peace.